I know you probably have edited your work.
Hello, and welcome once again to another live stream of SYWK podcast. My name is Desmond, and tonight's live stream is going to be exciting. But there is one excitement which is very disappointing is that my camera this conked off. I was supposed to start my live stream, you can say 20 minutes before, but I'm not sure. I tried to figure out to fix my camera, but I could not fix it. So, first of all, welcome everyone and wishing you a happy new year. 2024 is going to be amazing because a lot of things I've planned from my side, a lot of stories, a lot of exciting guests to be interviewed on my channel. So, welcome everyone. And in the chats, if you can, please let me know if you can hear me. I just want to do a sound test. Just give me a minute. Yes, so basically the audio is fine, but please do let me know in the chats if you guys can hear me. And people who are there on Instagram, I'm live on my YouTube channel, so join me on my YouTube channel. So without wasting any time, let's begin. In tonight's live stream, basically, I have couple of stories and we will be also discussing a few more things. So, first of all, we would like to welcome our co host Swati Rao. So, welcome, Swati.
Hello, everybody. After a long time, Happy New Year for everyone who's here in the live.
Yes, how was your vacation? I believe you had gone to India.
I wish I had stayed there.
Yeah, even I was on break and a lot of exciting things because when I was on break, I spoke to a lot of people and a lot of news. Sorry, a lot of new stories are there in line. But before we go ahead with the stories, last month it was the Christmas season, and there was a story which one of my subscribers had submitted, and I had narrated the story quite some time back. So since I thought that it is still the Christmas season, I would like to start with the first narration, which is the Christmas horror story. So just let me type this on the chat. Just give me a minute. Meanwhile, people who are just joined in, please, if you are new to the channel, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you are watching it right now, please don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family so people can join in more. So, this is the first story which I will be narrating. It is the Christmas horror story. So, without wasting any time, let's begin. But before I narrate the story, I would like to give you a backstory of the story. So, basically, it's been 3 years. This guy, one of my subscribers, his name is Ronnie, he submitted the story, and it is something interesting. And towards the end of the story, there are a lot of questions which is still not answered. So for Swati and for everyone, we will be discussing once the story gets over. So now, without wasting any time, I will narrate the story. So here we go. The story is submitted by Ronnie and is narrated by a host, Desmond. The incident happened on the 25th of December 2002. I was around 12 years old and I still remember that night, since it haunts our family to date. We stay in an area called Bandra, which is in Mumbai, India. And since it was Christmas time, we had to go meet my dad's brother, who used to then live in the interiors of the city, somewhere between Vasai and Virar. And the distance between the two places is around 65 to 70 kilometers by road. We could have traveled by the local train, but my dad loves road trips and that's why he decides to drive down to meet his brother. So around 9 am we started our journey and by lunchtime we had arrived. Generally, if there is no traffic, you can cover the distance in 2 hours maximum. But since it was our first time going towards the interiors, it took us time. But somehow we managed to reach by lunchtime. But we did not know then that the return journey would be our worst nightmare. Carrying on with the story, my dad was happy to meet his brother after a long time. We had an amazing Christmas celebration, and now it was time to head back home. My dad's brother requested him to stay for the night, but we had to head home since the next morning we were driving down to Goa. So around 11 pm, we started our journey. At first, everything went well. The roads were empty and I was enjoying the cool breeze with some soft music in the background. But then suddenly, my dad decides to take a halt since he was sleepy and uncomfortable driving. He stops near a small tea stall, lights up a cigarette, and sips on his tea to freshen up. While I was waiting for my dad to sit back in the car, a man approaches my dad and informs him that the roads are blocked ahead due to a massive accident and it might take at least 2 to 3 hours for the roads to clear. Not knowing what to do, my dad decides to wait in the car. After a while, the guy suggests us to check into a motel that was nearby so that we can rest till the roads don't clear. My dad, being a Goan, asked him the first question, if there is a bar in the motel. He laughed and said yes. And the minute my dad heard this, he decides to turn around and find the motel. It took a while for us to search the motel, but finally, after 20 minutes, we found the place, which was a bit in the interiors and not on the main road. Firstly, the area where the motel was did not have many street lights. It felt like an abandoned village. There was a small dim light at the entrance of the motel, and next to that was the bar. We get down and go towards the reception to book a room for the night. But the moment I entered the motel, I get this bad feeling that something is wrong. It was quite strange, no one was around. After ringing the table bell for almost a minute, then the receptionist comes to the front desk and he informs us that we were lucky because only one room was available on the top floor. After that, my dad completes all the formalities and we checked in our room. It was around 1 am and I was already sleepy. My dad informs me that he will go downstairs to get something for us to eat. I know my dad extremely well. He will go to the bar, have one drink and then come back. But anyways, I was tired and decided to rest for a while. But since the motel was not a big property, I was not getting proper sleep because of the noises coming from the bar and even from the other rooms. I just could not sleep. But after a while, I fell off to sleep. But then suddenly, I got up with a start because I could not breathe. It felt like the room was on fire and I was inhaling heavy black smoke. I started crying. I was scared, and luckily by then my dad had come back. I ran towards him and hugged him and told him what had happened to me. He said not to worry but suggested leaving this place since he did not like the vibe of the motel, and he told me something strange happened to him as well. I asked him what happened. He told me, first let's move out from this place. So we gathered all our stuff and started moving towards the exit of the motel. But the minute we opened our door, lights went off. I got extremely scared and started crying. I knew my dad was also scared, but somehow he caught my hands and started moving outside. The moment we reached towards the exit, we were shocked to see that the main entrance door was locked. Firstly, there was no lights. Pitch dark, could not see anything around us. I could feel the chills at that time and could also see how my dad was extremely paranoid, but I respect him to date for protecting me. I was crying and my dad was trying his level best to break the door. Somehow, after a lot of attempts, he managed to break the door. We ran towards the car and rushed towards the main road. After a while, we reached the same location near the tea stall and we both were in shock and my dad was trying to calm me down. Wondering what's wrong, the tea guy inquires to know if everything was fine. My dad, in fear, tells him everything, but before my dad completes the story, the tea stall guy knew exactly what had happened to us. Since most of the travelers who stop at that motel experience something unnatural. And that was the first part of the Christmas horror story. After maybe 5 minutes, I'm going to narrate the second part. But let's move ahead and let's discuss about the story. So, Swati, how did you like the story? And for everyone whoever is listening, please let me know in the comments.
All I can say is this really the right story to share on New Year?
It
Was
is,
it
it
not
is.
possible to tell me a happier story?
So, this stream is all about ghost. I think so. You have come to the wrong stream then.
I thought at least Jan second, at least.
Hmm.
Be like some difference in the, maybe today you'll have a little happy story, but I was mistaken. Um,
Hmm.
it was interesting from a creepiness point of view. Like it gave me that feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, but not. I mean, I was not like scared out of my wits. It was more like,
Hmm.
oh God, it's creepy.
Yeah, indeed, it is creepy because when so this guy he basically said that I want to share a story. So normally I tell people that you can send me a message on Instagram or email me, but he said no, I want to call and speak to you because he was so frightened that he did not know how to type it or he did not know how to share it online. So then I said okay, let me give him a call, and then I spoke to him, and that's what he shared. That's how he narrated the story. So it's been creepy. So let's move ahead and let's go to the second part of the story. Swati, before I go ahead and narrate the second story, if you can talk about you and about your podcast, so people who have just joined in new, they can subscribe to your channel as well. Meanwhile, I will go and search for the file for the second part.
Quick question: who is this person who shared it with you?
The person's name is Ronnie. He is one of my subscribers or the followers on Instagram.
Okay,
But
okay.
but then after that, I have not heard from him, so it's quite strange.
You should have invited him, no, for the live stream while telling his story.
Yeah, but that was like 3 years before. So after that,
Oh
I've
my
not heard from
God.
him. So yeah,
Ronnie is another ghost. He's told you one ghost story and he's vanished.
yeah.
Cool. You go ahead to find the next part. I have my own horror story, but keeping in mind it is New Year, the
Hmm.
ending of the story is not a sad one. I understand the
Oh,
theme.
that's nice.
Yeah. So people will not be depressed after listening to mine.
Yeah. So, anyways, people who have just joined in, Swati Rao has, or she also has her own podcast, Desi Horror Podcast on Spotify. In my description, you will find her link. Also, we have another co-host who has not joined in today. Her name is Nikita, and even she has a podcast called as 3 a.m. Fear Podcast. So everything is there in my description. So please don't forget to follow them. Rishi is there. Hi, Rishi. Muskan is there. Hi, Muskan. Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year to you, everyone. So let's not waste time. Rishi is saying he was just crying, bro. Who was crying? Who was crying? Let us know who was crying. Okay, anyways, let's not waste time. I will play the next part of the story. So, Christmas Horror Story Part 2. This is a short narration, it's only for 2 minutes. So, without wasting any time, let's begin.
Okay. So I am going to continue with my story since Desmond is taking the break. So my story has a happier ending. So whoever is listening to this can be happy that you will leave the live on a lighter note. It is a horror story, of course. So this is a New Year story that a colleague of mine told me a couple of years ago at our Christmas party. So I was at an office Christmas party in India a few years ago, and we were part. I mean, it was just a general office party, drinking and chatting and exchanging Secret Santa gifts, etc., etc. Um, so as the party went on for very late, there were very few of us left, which is why probably he wanted to share it. So one of my colleagues, when we had the Secret Santa, one of them was into not exactly antiques. It was more like her house, like we've been to her house, and her house has a lot of these decor pieces. Like she was really heavily into decor, like vintage decor, artifacts, travel souvenirs. That's why I said it's not necessarily vintage. It's more like she just liked to collect art pieces, whether it's old or new or whatever. But that was her fascination. So her house had a lot of these artifacts everywhere. So which is why when he got her name, he wanted to buy her something art related because he thought that makes sense for a gift. um, so he was very keen on buying her a mirror because she lacked a mirror in the house, and she had been talking that she wanted some kind of mirror. And then he looked around. He also asked for our opinion, and I didn't know anything about it at that time because I didn't have my house. I was not married, on either did I have my house to decorate. So I didn't have any suggestions. So we just told him, hey, why don't you go to so in Delhi you have something called Khan Market, in where you can get all these old artifacts and everything. But in Bangalore, we don't have such a market where you can get that. So you actually have to go to stores, and you have to go to Commercial Street, etc. But we remembered, or rather, one of my colleagues, we remembered that in Commercial Street, which is like a shopping street, there is a store that sells a lot of artifacts which are similar to like the Khan Market style. It looks old, but you can't be sure it's actually old. It could just be new items that have that finishing on them. So they sell like mirrors, statues, bronze articles, um, bells, all kinds of pretty things. So he suggested that you go there, like you go to this place in Commercial Street and buy from the store. I've been to the store before. It's very nice. But again, we were in that phase where we didn't have our own place. So we didn't have much experience. So he went. And then he picked up some mirror for this lady, for our colleague. And then he came back. And then he gave it to her on Secret Santa Day. She was really happy with it, and she liked it a lot. Everyone was happy. And also the group that was left behind that day for on Christmas were a close set of people. Like though we were colleagues, we were pretty close because we were in that company for a while. So we had a good relationship with each other. So everybody was happy by the end of it. And then we ended this party. Um, I think a couple of months later, I don't really know that exact timeline, whether it was like 6 months or 8 months, we got to know from our colleague that a series of bad incidents started taking place in her house, in the sense that she kept falling sick, her husband kept falling sick, something or the other kept breaking, it was just like a bad time for her. And which is why she was taking a lot of leaves, like a lot of office leaves. We didn't know this I heard only from others in the same group, that okay, something was going on. After some time, after taking a lot of leaves, we had a team lunch, and that is when I and some others like asked her about it, like, hey, what happened? Are you okay? Is everything fine at home? So she was of the opinion that when she received this mirror for as a Secret Santa gift, ever since that there's been some issue or the other in her house. And because she and her husband had a deep belief in astrology and vastu and those kind of energy related beliefs, they felt like the energy in their house had shifted ever since this new item of art has come in. And that is why a lot of like bad things were going on in the house. I didn't know how much to take of this because technically it is just a mirror, and it's not like he went and got it in some old store where it had history attached to it. It was just a regular store, but it happened to have artifacts from multiple vendors. It looked like an old mirror, but you just cannot really be sure. So I told her not to worry about it, and it not necessarily could be the mirror. It could really be a coincidence and or a genuine health concern, and so did the others in the group. And then after that, we saw that she had come back to office and she was doing fine, but there was definitely a change in her shift, like her energy shift, in the sense that she was acting a little more irritable and moody and not coming for a lot of the team lunches, etc. And then finally I quit the company, so I moved on to a different company, so I was not in touch with them as much. A little later I met them for a casual catch up. Like, I think a couple of months later they invited me for a dinner, so I met them. So I inquired, like, what happened, is everything going on well? At that time, she did not come for that dinner, but my other colleagues were there, and the guy who gifted her the mirror also was there. So through them I found out that from though, like I mentioned, like, the energy had shifted, she had become irritable, moody, and she and her husband were constantly falling sick. They felt like something was up with the house, and they started blaming different things. Like, initially they blamed the mirror. Later they were like, no, maybe it's us, and we should get the house checked, we should call some vastu expert, we should also maybe like check astrology. They tried a few things, and then they also started seeing faults in each other and fighting, and like a lot of couple disagreements. And then as some months had passed, they apparently separated, so they got divorced, and which is why they moved out of the house as well. And she also told that colleague that she got rid of the mirror because she didn't want any artifacts associated to her relationship with her husband, so they sold all the artifacts and the house, and they moved out. Now the question is, my colleague who gave her the mirror, he felt guilty, and he felt like, okay, maybe I should not have bought this object, because ever since this happened, only bad things happened to this woman. This woman was also of this opinion that something happened in the house. There was an energy shift, which is why her life kind of spiraled. But I don't really know whether this is the case. And why this is a New Year story for me was because this happened during the Christmas New Year time. I heard this during the Secret Santa time, and that is when the gift was given. So the moral of the story is, maybe be careful about what you gift your Secret Santa.
Oh my god. But this year no one gifted me anything, so I'm safe. So apparently it was the mirror, or it was that gift, or whatever it was, that was cursed.
That's what she and her husband claimed initially, because ever since they got that gift, a new artifact came into the house. They started falling sick, and she was taking leaves, and then she was irritable, and then they started fighting with each other and eventually divorced. But you cannot really blame an object for everything that has happened, is my belief. But the guy who gave it to her also started suspecting that, okay, maybe you never know, maybe there was some history attached with it, I didn't know, I just went and got it. So it's a little mixed, maybe it could be that it had some kind of negativity around it, and that just became a catalyst.
But if you ask me and my point of view, I do believe in haunted objects,
Hmm.
and especially, if you find something on the road, they say that, if it's like an antique piece and all, you should not take that, because you never know what might be attached to that. And especially considering people do a lot of black magic, maybe that object was used in something and that was thrown away, and that was not even meant for you, and then after that, you take it because it's antique and it's looking nice.
Hmm.
And you never know, because I feel a lot of energies attract or goes in some objects as well, and it can be a reason, or it can be a thing where uh, that particular mirror can be uh, like cursed or something
Mm,
similar to that. Yeah, because off lately, when I was on my break, one evening I was not doing anything, so I said, okay, let me listen to a podcast. So recently, I think so, a week before, 2 weeks before, this beer biceps,
mm,
Ranveer, he interviewed one guest, Dr. Savio. He's from the same team of the paranormal investigators, that is Sarbajit Monte and Pooja Vijay. So when
mhm,
Dr. Savio came on his channel, he spoke a lot, and there is an interesting story as well. I will tell towards the end of the stream. It is quite creepy, but one interesting fact what he said is that whenever they go for different cases, he
mm,
brings certain objects from the cases, and even he has like a museum right now where he has all different pieces which are haunted. And he said on the podcast that apparently certain kinds of mirrors, if it is kept in a certain way and two mirrors are facing each other, it becomes like a portal to go to the other side of the world. Now, I
mm.
don't know how far this is true, but actually, when he speaks and when you listen to that episode, it really makes sense. So, you never know. Still, we are in 2024 and still a lot of questions are unanswered. So, that is something creepy and exciting.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. You never know the history of something.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I didn't answer why it was a happy ending because people must be like, how is this a happy ending? Some shit happened and like two people got divorced. It's a happy ending because nobody was damaged physically. Like no, luckily nothing serious happened to them individually. The lady is doing fine. I've seen her LinkedIn updates. She's doing quite
hmm.
well in her career. There's no problems, and she seems to be in a good place now. So that's what I mean by in the end everything got sorted out because they sold everything and their house as well, and they're living their individual lives well.
But I know it's a personal question, but I just wanted to know what would be the reason for them to get separated? It was something mutual, or because they started having a lot of problems? Because before you answer that, same podcast which I was talking about, uh, he was speaking about black magic, and
Hmm.
he said that there are different kinds of spell people put on you, and there is a spell where you as a person, physically everything will be fine, but
Hmm.
whatever you do, whatever you try to do, if you're starting a business or if you're working or anything in your life, will get destroyed and nothing good will happen to you. So
Hmm.
I am not sure. I may be assuming or maybe connecting things, and this is an open conversation. So what was, I know you cannot tell me the actual reason, but do you feel it was something mutual, or do you feel after that object coming in the house, after that they started having problems?
So the claim is that like the claim from what we have spoken to her is that ever since that Christmas, which is like, after the Secret Santa party, things kind of got worse in the sense like sickness and constant issues at home, which obviously adds tension to any relationship. Like when a partner or you are constantly falling sick, it is a pressure in the house because one person is taking care of the other. If the other person is also sick, you both are struggling and trying to take care of each other. After
Hmm.
that came about a lot of disagreements and verbal arguments, which is of course in any relationship after a point of time it's like okay, we are not compatible. So she claims that ever since that Christmas party, things have only been going downwards.
Because see, my major reason for what I believe is because a lot of people are jealous also of other people, other couples or
Mhm.
other relationship and all. And maybe that mirror was a way for things to get worse, maybe divorce, or so many other things. We cannot come to a conclusion, but Melvin, who's there on the chat, he asked a very important question. What about the guy? Is he okay? Yes. Even we need to think about the guy. Is he okay?
The good question, Melvin. I can't believe this was the takeaway from the story. The both parties are doing well individually. That's why I said it's a happy ending story. Yes, some bad stuff happened in between. That
Hmm.
the mirror. I mean, there was a gift, a Secret Santa party, and things went terrible. But now at an individual level, both are doing fine
So both are having happy endings separately now.
separately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life, you have to have your own, good and happy ending.
Yeah. Maybe they might be getting also happy ending anyways. That is a different thing. Anyways, Melvin is there in the chat. Melvin, I met him during my break time. He had a story. If you're free, Melvin, please do join and tell us the story about that Lonavala thing where you guys had gone and someone you met in the middle of the forest. So let me know if you would like to join in. Please do join in. I'll just read the chats. So I had asked Rishi if he has any story to tell and if he can join the live stream. So he said, "No, bro, not happened any horror thing to me." And then he replied saying, "I wish I had." So Rishi, before we go ahead, please don't wish about something bad, because when someone experience something paranormal, it is really it's not good, to be honest. So I just wish you that you don't have anything and just enjoy the horror stream. It's better not to have a story than to have a story. But he's saying because I want to experience it. It's better that people don't experience, because once someone experience it, it's really bad, and it's really bad to come out of it. uh
There's a
Rishi
saying
again.
called "Be careful what you wish for." So you
Yeah,
should be very careful what you wish for.
please be careful. And anyways, it's the first week of the year, so don't wish, otherwise the whole year you will be experiencing that only. He's saying black magic mirror. Yeah, I think so. It might be black magic mirror.
Have any
Melvin
of
is
you
saying,
guys watched Oculus? If you watched Oculus or Mirrors, there are two horror movies. Oculus also has mirrors, and Mirrors movie also has mirrors. So that entire both the storylines are about how the mirror is the portal.
mm, okay, that's interesting. Melvin is saying, I can share the story again, but not now. No problem, Melvin. Maybe let me see if I can remember what you told me, then I will able to narrate it, but I'll narrate it after some time. My audio quality isn't good right now. Audio quality is because you're drinking or because of your phone? That you need to specify. And Swati, basically, when I told you that I was basically going to play the second part of the story, but
Oh,
then
okay, okay. I
yeah.
thought okay.
But anyways, no problem. So now, people who have just joined in, towards the start of the stream, I had played one of the Christmas horror stories. That was part one, and now I'm going to play part two. If you have missed it, then you can just rewind back later on and you can listen to it. So now I'll just play the part two of the story. I'll just give the uh, brief about this story. Is basically a guy. He was spending Christmas in Mumbai, and then he went towards the interiors of Mumbai. And then while he was coming back, something strange happened when they stayed at one of the motels, and there were a lot of questions unanswered. So let's play the second part of the story. I'll be going in three, two, and one. The story is submitted by Ronnie and is narrated by a host, Desmond. Continuing from where I left, when my dad told the tea stall guy what we experienced, he was aware of such incidents since a lot of travelers experienced the same at that motel. And then he told us what was the history behind the motel. A few years ago, there was a man called Mangesh from a nearby village who had a bar and wanted to construct rooms around that. But due to some reason, the top floor of the motel caught fire and he and a few workers lost their life in that incident. But the ground floor, where the bar is located, still could function. That's why another person purchased that bar and started running their alcohol services. Many of the customers complain that they can hear people screaming from the top floor, but the owner
and the staff assumed that they were drunk and ignored their stories. But it was when one of the staff members had gone on the top floor for some work and had experienced something unnatural. That's when they started connecting dots and was sure that the motel was haunted. To come to a conclusion, the motel was haunted by Mangesh and the others who lost their life. And the shocking part was that the bar closes at 10 pm. After getting to know this information, my dad could not believe what we experienced. I was still small and did not understand much of the things that had happened. But now, after so many years, it haunts us. It was my dad who reminded me about this incident, and now I have so many questions in my mind. Why did the man near the tea stall suggest we go to the motel? Why did the tea stall guy did not stop or warn us about the motel? What had happened to my dad when he left me in the room and went downstairs to the bar? After so many years, I finally have the answers, and I would like to share it with you guys.
That was part 2 of the story. It was quite short. And there is part 3 as well, which I'll be playing in another 1 or 2 minutes. Melvin is saying I'm going to listen to this again later, off to sleep. Good night. Good night, Melvin. Thank you for joining in. So Swati, what is your feedback? What is your point of view in the
I'm
part
waiting
2
for
of
the
the
next
story?
part. I'm like, okay, why didn't you play? What am I supposed to understand with this middle part?
Yes, I will be playing that. Okay, let's not waste time and let's play the third part as well, and then we'll discuss the about
Yeah,
the story. Okay, so without wasting any time, playing the third part. Let me just type it. Yeah, here we go.
As I mentioned in my previous episode, after many years, my dad reminded me about our experience at the motel. I was too small to understand everything, but now I'm an adult and the experience freaks me out. I also remember my dad had witnessed something at the bar when he left me in the motel. When this incident happened in 2002, I was too scared to talk about it. But now, when we were refreshing our memories, I asked him what exactly happened that night at the bar. And this is what my dad told me. Disclaimer: if you are a weak person and who cannot handle extreme horror content, I would suggest you to stop this episode right now. Now, the story will be narrated from Ronnie's dad's point of view. When I left the room, I went down towards the bar entrance. At first, everything looked fine. There were a few tables occupied, and I sat on one of the tables and ordered a drink. I don't know why, but for some reason, they were taking time to get my drink. Meanwhile, I was also buzzing and was a bit tired too. While waiting for the drink, I don't know when I fell off to sleep on the table itself. It might be a maximum of 5 to 10 minutes that I fell off to sleep. And when suddenly I opened my eyes, I found myself in an empty bar where no one was around, not the staff, not the people who were sitting on the other tables. It was quite strange. I assumed I must have slept for a longer time and everyone must have left. So I came out of the bar and started walking towards the entrance of the motel. And that's when I witnessed something unnatural. I saw the motel burned and completely broken from inside. At first, I felt I entered the wrong building, but then I could hear someone crying from inside. I got scared. I did not know what to do. I did not know what was happening. And then I remembered you. I ran towards the room, but I was shocked to see the whole place burned up. I thought something bad had happened while I fell off to sleep at the bar. I was scared, but the minute I opened our room door, I was extremely happy to see you safe. But things got more creepy. I noticed that the room was the same. Nothing had happened. It did not feel that the room was on fire. Not knowing what to do, I decided to leave this place. We ran down towards the exit, and while running down, something creeped me again. The motel was completely fine. It was not burned at all. Yes, the light did go off, but the main entrance door was at its place, and the worst part was that the door was locked from outside. Things were really getting bad, and I knew this is something supernatural. To date, this incident haunts us, and I still don't have answers to a lot of questions. That one wrong turn almost got us killed. I don't know if the motel still exists or not, but after that incident, we have never traveled by road to that part of the city. There are so many questions which we need answers to. Did this really happen to us, or was I drunk? But if the motel was abandoned, how we could see a fully constructed building?
Whoa. So that was the final part of the story, and a lot of questions are still unanswered. So, firstly, Swati, what is your feedback about the story?
Confusing, because I'm like, wait, I'm confused in some parts of the story. I mean, like you said, some unanswered questions. But I found the part where suddenly someone starts crying and it's an empty bar, very creepy.
Hmm.
It
So
reminded me
basically,
of so there's actually a Malayalam movie called Bhuta Kalam.
Bhutakalam, yeah, Bhutakalam,
Kalam,
yeah.
yeah. Revati acts in it, very famous Tamil actress. In
Hmm.
that movie also, um, he actually thinks his mom is the one crying at night because his mom is depressed. But at the end of the movie, you find out that it was not his mom crying. Like there was this crying noise coming from the bedroom when nobody was there at the end, and you
Hmm.
realize that actually it was the ghost crying.
Hmm. Yeah. It's one of the creepiest movies. I saw the movie. It's nice. Bhutakalam.
Hmm.
Just let
So
me
his
read the.
screaming, sorry, his crying thing in your story, and
Hmm.
that empty bar reminded me of that scene.
Yeah. Just let me read the comments, then we'll just discuss again. KB versus KB. Where is Hani Pasha? No one knows where is Hani Pasha. No one knows who is Hani Pasha. So that's the biggest question. But surprisingly, Hani Pasha, he had sent me a message. No, he commented on one of my reels.
Hmm.
That was 13 days ago. It's quite creepy. He's saying, I'm jobless and struggling to get a job. In spite of 2000 job applications, I'm not getting a single job. Please tell me, how do you handle rejections? I might end my life. So that,
What?
yeah. So now I don't know, because uh, he keeps joking about, and he
Oh my
keeps
God.
telling different things. So after that, I've not heard from him. So
So
I
reach
don't know.
out to him, no, through that account, wherever he messaged you.
That only on Facebook only. I replied to him, but I don't know.
Oh my God, this is really
But
scary.
I don't think so. It is scary, but I feel he'll be fine.
Okay, but what
That's
did you
one of.
reply? What did you reply to him? Do you ask us to reach out to us or something?
Yeah, I said if you can please DM me on Instagram or something, and please take care and don't worry or something like that. This was 13 days before. Like this was when I was on break. That time I had replied, but after that I have not got.
Oh
But
my God.
I feel he will be back. I don't think so, because he keeps uh, telling all different
Hani
things. So
Pasha, if you're watching this and not joining, please reach out to us on Instagram. You know our names on Instagram. And
yes,
also,
please,
I'm in Germany, so please reach out to me.
please. Let's go to next. Rishi is saying, "Bro, I'm getting scared by listening background sound, bro." Yeah, that's the reason why we put background sound, so people get scared. Bro, really things got creepier. Yeah. So let's talking about the story.
So, what do you
So
think is actually happening? Like, what is going to be the final output?
see, before telling you the final output, let me just give a brief of because people who have just joined in. The thing is, one guy was there. He was traveling to Mumbai. I mean, in the interiors of Mumbai, and then while they were coming back, they experienced something supernatural because when they decided to stay in a motel, they assumed that it was a fully constructed motel, but towards the end of the story we get to know that it was not even functional. But then later on, there are two sides of the story, where the dad is also saying something, where the son is also saying something. But what I feel is that I do believe that, and especially on the highways, there are sometimes, how do I explain to you, because a lot of people have experienced this particular scene where people are driving, and sometime you will get lost and you'll not even realize. And this has not happened to a new driver, this has happened to drivers who are on the same route going every day. So there is a thing, or whatever you can call it, where especially in the highways or especially in this interiors, because the place where he's talking is the place where I also grew up for a very long time, and it is in the extremes outskirts of Mumbai, and lot of greenery, lot of trees, and it does look scary in the middle, in the night. So I'm not sure that everything what he told can be true, but I can also believe them, because obviously, if it would be one person, then it would be doubtful, because the dad was under the influence of alcohol. So we cannot completely trust him, because sometime after getting drunk you can start seeing things which are not there. But it was Ronnie who was young at that time, and he also experienced, but they both experienced two complete different things. So I also don't have a conclusion, but I can say that maybe out of what they said, at least 50% might be true, and 50% might be, obviously when you're telling a story, you tend to add few things, or you tend to minus few things. So this is my perspective, and I also don't have answers, to be honest.
So, in some ways, you think it's like a drunk hallucination.
Kind of.
Mm.
But Ronnie was not drinking, he was young, he was in the room, and even he heard a few things, or maybe being alone in the room, and when he was sleeping he got up, he must have got scared being alone. And because this is not like I asked him also, was this like a good hotel, like a 3 star or 4 star? He said no, it was like a motel. Obviously on the highway the motel will not be so fancy.
Yeah, yeah.
It will have, no room service, nothing. So it is, I still can't get answers. So that's what the thing is, I still can't get answers. And again, surprisingly, after that I have not heard from him. So there are a lot of people who just come, they tell the story, and then they just get disappeared, which is also creepy. Or maybe they just don't want to just put their name in public when they share the story. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Rishi saying, bro, Mumbai, Maharashtra highway are mostly haunted. Yeah, most of the highways, because a lot of deaths has happened there. So unnatural deaths. So a lot of haunted things are there. Bro, I'll see your live stream tomorrow. Okay, bye, bro, and sweet dreams. Good night. Okay, Rishi, thank you. Good night. Thank you so much. Yes, Swati,
Yeah,
you
it
were
could
saying
be
something.
that like what he's saying, a lot of these highways are, I mean, they're notorious for ghost stories. Let's just say that.
Hmm. It is. It is. Anyways, now I will also tell another story. Melvin was there. He's a friend of mine who stays here only. Now, he told me the story, but it would be best if he would explain it, because he himself have gone through that. Now, I don't know what title should I give? Because if I give the title, then it will spoil the story. So
Hmm.
I'll just put Melvin's horror story. So whatever I remember, I'm just going to narrate that. So basically, 1 minute. Yeah. So basically, this is a story which was in Lonavala. Okay, and whatever I remember, I'm going to tell you guys. I'm not sure if I will be able to tell you the complete story because it's a long story, but I'll try to cut it short and explain it to you all. So let me break down the story into three parts. The first part is I will just give the character introduction, and then the second part I will tell you what actually happened, and third part let's discuss about if this is a true story or if this is not a true story. But since it is coming from a first source, which is Melvin, who he himself experienced, I kind of believe in the story.
Hmm.
And it is, since it is New Year, and it is going to be a very positive side of paranormal. So let me give you the character introduction. So there were three people, okay? Melvin, let's name two other, Alex and Hani. So Melvin, Alex, and Hani, they go from Mumbai because they're staying in Mumbai. They go for the weekend to Lonavala. A lot of people from Mumbai, from Maharashtra, they go to Lonavala, Khandala for weekends to drink and to spend their time, well during the weekends. So three guys, Melvin, Alex, and Hani, they reach and they're sitting in one of the resorts. They're sitting, they're drinking, they're having a good time. Next morning, they get up and they decide, okay, let's do something. Okay, let's go somewhere, let's see the places. So one of them suggested, okay, we'll have lunch, we'll have a few drinks, and then around 4 5 o'clock, let's go. We'll just explore the place in the evening, and then we'll come back. So that was the plan. So as per the plan, they started eating food, they started drinking, and then around 4 4:30 they left. Now from the hotel, they started walking and they started exploring the place. So now Lonavala is a certain kind of place where in some parts of the area there are a lot of hilly area where there are a lot of trees like a forest. So they decided, chalo, let's go and explore. So now walking, they did not realize that when it started becoming darker,
Hmm.
and after a while it became a bit dark, and then they lost their way back. They did not know how to come back, because see, obviously if you're walking on a street or if you're walking in a mall or something, you know the directions from right, left, or go back. But this was like they just randomly went and then they got lost. Now it was creepy, and they did not know what to do. And suddenly after a while, they seen a dog which was just standing there out of nowhere. So jokingly Melvin said, if this would be a horror movie, then this dog would take us to a place where the owner will kill everyone. Apparently, in such horror movies, this is the scene. So he was just joking and he was just telling Alex and Ani. And they were telling Melvin, Arey, don't joke and all. It is serious right now because we have lost our way back. And it is getting darker. And once it gets dark, we don't have proper facilities, supplies, we don't have torch, light, nothing. So it will be very scary. And plus, towards the hilly area, the mobile network also sometime it's fluctuating, so you get it, you don't get it, it's creepy. Then after a while, Melvin seen the dog, and the dog was trying to you know tell them that you follow me. So Melvin understood and he said, guys, listen, let's do one work, let's follow the dog because he might you know take us to a safe place, or he might take us back. So now the dog is walking, Okay, and it's now, after a while, it's become pitch dark. Okay, they had their mobile light and torch, and this is, you can say, 2010, 2009. So back then no smartphones were there, the small phones were there, and the small phone also, the torchlight used to be there. So they are using that, and they are somehow following the dog. After you can say, after a while, the dog is getting disappeared, but they are trying to catch the pace of the dog.
Hmm.
And then after some time, they are walking slow, so the dog is also waiting for them. So the dog was like a good Samaritan, where the dog was trying to direct them. So now, walking, now they are clueless, they don't know what is happening, how things are going to go next. But after a while, they see a very small light from afar, and they are wondering, okay, chalo, there is light, so maybe there might be people, maybe we can go and ask them help. And the dog is a, like, in a good Samaritan, he has helped us. So now they are walking, and the minute they are getting closer to that light, they start realizing, okay, this is something strange, because this was a small tea shop. Okay, where a guy is selling tea, and no one is there, it's just him. There's a small dim light, and he's preparing tea and some chips and cigarettes, and this all is there. So they reached there, and they said, okay, chalo, at least we are safe, we can ask this guy how to go back, or how to go back to a hotel, and this, that, and all. So he looks like a localite, so let's try to seek help. But since they walked so much and they were so scared, they decided, okay, let us go there, take a at least 1 minute break, have a cup of tea, because it was cold as well, and they had a cigarette as well. So while they were talking, they're saying, chalo, we are safe, we got scared that things will happen, this, that, and all. And they took some biscuits as well, and then they started feeding the dog the biscuits. And then after that, they started having a conversation with the chaiwala, that he, he they were telling the chaiwala that, please tell us how to go out, because we have been lost, and we got lost in the middle of the forest, and this dog is there, he helped us, and this, that, and all. So the chaiwala is saying, like, which dog? So then Melvin turned around and he said, the dog here which I was feeding biscuits just now. So the chaiwala said, ऐसा कोई नहीं है, like, there is no dog here, who you are referring to. So now, as per me, okay, this is not Melvin, but as per me, maybe the dog ran away. Okay, maybe the chaiwala did not see the dog. But in that scene, that situation, Melvin was talking to the chaiwala, and he was praising the dog, but the chaiwala said that there was no dog. Melvin said also, just 2 minutes before, I took biscuit from you and I was feeding the dog. So how is that you could not see it? We're saying, no, I have not seen it. So he said, okay, they forgot about it. Okay, because they did not forget about it, but they wanted to ignore this, because they wanted to reach home, because they were anyways paranoid. They wanted to reach back to their hotel. So they asked the chaiwala, how do we go back? So apparently, I will give you the explanation of the whole forest. They entered from point A, okay, and they had to exit from point A back. But what did the dog do is, the dog took them to point B, which is also another exit where the chaiwala was there. So basically, there are two entrance, point A and point B, where you can enter and exit. So the dog did not take them back to point A. The dog took them to point B. So that is also an exit and entry. So they were happy, because they assumed that they had to all the way walk back to point A. And then the chaiwala said that my tea stall is right at the entrance of point B, so you just go out, okay, you will see the street, and then automatically you will get your direction, you can ask anyone else there. So they got saved that night, because they were in the forest, they didn't know what to do, and then suddenly a dog came and saved them, and the dog showed them the direction. This is the first part of the story. Now, Melvin, being a person who is extremely smart and he always likes to question a lot of things. And if you have a conversation with Melvin, it is you get a lot of information. So he decided that next day also, let us go there again and let us try to see if we get the if we try to find the dog. So again, all these three of them, they go the next day. But now the next day they did not go drunk. They did not drink anything. First day, yes, they were drunk. They went. Second day, they did not drink anything. They went there. Same thing. Again, they found the dog. Again, the dog was trying to, give them directions. Again, they followed the dog. Again, the dog reached them or dropped them towards the chaiwala. Again, they asked the chaiwala, "Did you see the dog?" He denied. And then they said, "Okay, thank you." And they went. This is the second part. Now, coming to the final part, an interesting part of the story, which is it was maybe 6, 7 months or a year. Melvin decides to go back to Lonavala, but with a different set of people. And now he knew that, what they experienced. So he did not tell this new group that, something like this has happened with me. And he said, "Chalo, let's, one evening, let's go to this point. It's a very nice point. It's like a beautiful place. It's like a forest and this, that, and all." He described and he said, "Let's go." Again, Melvin, after a year, he took this group of new people at the same time around 4:35 and he goes there. And guess what? Again, the same dog without obviously the dog after a couple of months or years they grow or they change, their features little bit changes, but the dog looked the same. And again, the dog did what he had to do. He directed them back to the city. So it is a positive story, but it is a paranormal story as well, because according to Melvin, he still feels that that dog was an entity or whatever. It might be a spirit of the dog or whatever we can call it, but it was helping everyone, whoever was getting lost inside the jungle, to come out. So that was a positive thing, and according to him, he still believes that this was something paranormal, because that dog, only people who are getting lost in the jungle could see, but the people outside the chaiwala, he tried to ask everyone, but no one could see the dog. It was only people who were getting lost. So yeah, that was the story which Melvin had narrated.
All I can say is, "Kaun hai ye magic dog?"
Yeah, but quite interesting.
Certainly,
And
yeah, interesting from the, like, it feels as though that, this is like one of those, um what is the right way, like some kind of messenger dog, like when you're in
yeah,
trouble, it's there to guide you through.
yeah, that was quite interesting. So yeah, let us move ahead. Do you have any stories to say?
I have a question about the story as to, so is it that nobody in that place knows about this dog, or is it just the chaiwala who has not seen it?
I'm not sure, but as per what Melvin said, that the chaiwala could not see the dog. There can be two reasons: either the minute the dog reaches, he just runs away, or genuinely he cannot see because. See, now also another question is, do you and people who are watching believe that there are also spirits of animals? Because some of them, they say no, there are, after a animal they die, there is no spirit. It's just that they live and they die, they don't have any spirit. But I do believe that, there are spirits of animals as well. So that's the main question in this story as well.
Hmm. No,
What
that's
do you
true.
feel?
That's true. Even I think animal spirits are the same. They can also remain, but it. I mean, there are chances that the dog is constantly running away, and that is why the chaiwala didn't see it. But if you have noticed, most chai walas, they know everything that goes on in the area. They are very observant people.
Hmm.
Whole point of their business is to have repeat customers, which means they're very observant of what's going on, like what time
Yeah.
train landing, what time does the bus land, who are the school kids nearby, because their
Hmm.
business runs on repeat customers, or even if it's not repeat customers, it's customers that they can be sure of. That's why they're always near in a school, college, train station, whatever. So it cannot be. It's very unusual for a chaiwala to be like, okay, I've never seen this dog ever in my life, and no matter how
Hmm.
many times you're seeing it, I'm not seeing it.
Hmm.
So that I think is a point of concern. But other
Hmm.
than his belief, this dog also feels like some kind of messenger dog, which is like, okay, Melvin is in trouble, and maybe he's able to see it because of his beliefs or something like that.
No, no. The thing is, when Melvin went first time, Melvin, Alex, and Hani, they all three seen it. Okay, they all three seen the dog while the dog was directing. Sorry,
But when did Hani come into the story?
I told you, no, Melvin, Alex, and Hani, three people in the story. Like the first time when Melvin went to Lonavala, the first part of the story, they all three seen the dog. Then after that, the next time when he
Oh,
went with
right,
the
right.
different,
Okay, okay. Hani Pasha. I got because we discussed his thing right before this. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All
and
three
then
saw it, but then again, all three were travelers, right?
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
so. Only the
So
travelers or the people who get lost
yeah, yeah.
in the
Like a
forest is what
messenger dog.
people.
It's like your beliefs are causing you to see this, whereas regular people like the chaiwala are cannot see it because maybe it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So that is
It
quite
is
creepy.
possible, right? Like for example, if have you watched this movie Children of the Corn?
No, it's a new or old movie.
No, old one, old one. So Children of
Hmm.
the Corn is like there's this particular part. It's a small town, and this in this town there'll be like these very tall grass. Like there'll be this region, like a farm area with very tall grass, and whoever passes by cannot hear anything. It's like you will just pass by. But let's say that your your car or truck or whatever has broken down in front of the grass, and you go and stand next to the grass.
Hmm.
Whoever stands next to the grass can hear someone inside the grass calling to them. Like for example, now your car is broken down in front of the tall grass, that farm area. You are
Hmm.
waiting for the mechanic, so you're standing in front of the grass. You will hear somebody calling Desmond, Desmond from inside the grass. And this
Hmm.
very tall grass we're talking about. So you will be like, oh, okay, someone's calling me, let me enter. But the person, let's say, who's away from you, like sitting in the car away from you, cannot hear it. Only you will hear it.
Oh, shit,
Yeah.
creepy.
And then you are lured into the grass.
Quite creepy.
Yeah. So
So
it could
many
be that
stories.
it's only their beliefs that is causing them to see the dog.
Hmm. Quite creepy. Uh, it's 1 hour 9 minutes. What do you feel, Swati? Should we continue for maybe more 10 minutes, or we should end the live stream? What is your say?
Are you continuing with another story, or what is the plan?
I have a story, but I'm not sure should I narrate it for this live stream or should I save it for the next live stream. I am not sure. I think so. Okay. Do you have a story?
We will save your story for the next live stream,
Yeah,
since you
that
have
one.
contributed with the haunted dogs and these empty bars and whatnot. So we'll
Yeah.
do it in the next live stream.
Yes, we will do it in the next live stream. So thank you everyone who has joined in tonight's live stream and who will be watching it after the live stream ends. Please don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to follow Swati as well. She has her own podcast called as Desi Horror Podcast. Her details are there in the description, so please follow. And after this, I'm going to try to fix my camera. It's not working. This is my laptop camera. Otherwise, I have a different camera which I connect. So yeah, thank you everyone, and
Make
we
sure
wish
your
you
Secret Santa gifts next year
yeah,
are just normal gifts.
yes, please, yeah.
Just don't buy creepy things for people as gifts in general.
Yeah, buy new stuff, buy perfumes, buy new stuff. Don't buy old stuff. Don't buy mirrors. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and we will be happy to see you in our next live stream, which will be next Tuesday. Okay, thank you and good night.